Credit unions are in my DNA. When my dad came back from the Korean War, he went to work for Mountain Bell in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And he joined the credit union, the Mountain Bell Federal Credit Union at that time. He would put $1 into a savings account for my sister and I every payday. Well, credit unions were really a very pure model then. They were for people like my dad. He had a place to go where he could borrow the money fairly without a whole lot of, credit checking, as we say. But he was also on the board of directors for Mountain Bell Federal Credit Union. I started my career with credit unions, my career journey with credit unions, as a recovering entrepreneur. I was working for a startup company in Philadelphia when 9/11 happened. The founder of the company shut it down, and I was out of work. I was very fortunate to very quickly find a role with UC Federal Credit Union in Boulder, Colorado as the VP of Marketing. That's when I started to understand what cooperative meant in the business world. It was not just refreshing, it was almost freeing. And my first boss at the time was Bill Sterner. Bill Sterner taught me a lot of lessons about what the credit union movement was and what it meant to consumers. But unfortunately, Bill died on the Capitol floor during a legislative breakfast. The board was able to select a really great CEO, and that was Jerry Agnes.
Rich Jones is a very inspiring and accomplished leader. When I arrived in the summer of 2008, Elevation's credit union market penetration was 1 in 4 households in Boulder County. He's a savvy marketer with exceptional business acumen.
One of the opportunities that I had while I was with UC Federal Credit Union was to find a name that was a little more acceptable to the public. It seemed like UC Federal Credit Union, University of Colorado, was a constraint for people joining. And I was very fortunate to be able to work with a strong team of staff to change the name to Elevation's Credit Union, which, if you're talking Boulder, Colorado, seems to be a very logical name, doesn't it? And we also completely rebranded the organization, and we launched a new culture around that new name.
Rich was a forward thinker. He constantly challenged the team to take the long view and anticipated member needs, not just this year, but 5 to 10 years down the road.
I always refer to a career as a hero's journey because it really feels that way when you're in the middle of it. And there's going to be adversity that you're going to have to face. And when 2008 happened, we saw our delinquency ratio go out of control. We also saw our capital ratio take a dip. And so we had to do things to kind of get all of that and our expense ratio, all of that in line again. And so as a result, I got laid off. You just need to have the endurance to kind of work through those challenges. Then out of the blue, another ally, Randy Schultz, and a lot of you know Randy Schultz, he works for Weber Marketing, contacted me about a role with Eli Lilly Federal Credit Union in Indianapolis. And sure enough, I got the job.
Rich brought energy, integrity, creativity, and a sense of joy to our marketing effort and the entire organization. He just made you better.
Lisa taught me a lot about transparency. It taught me how to listen to the employees to make sure you understood what they needed and wanted to execute better on their jobs. She taught me that you have to speak truth, even though it's ugly. During that process, I leaned very heavily on a gentleman called Todd Schickel. Because he was able to execute on our plans and our strategies, we in fact grew 22% in 1 year.
Rich Jones is a change agent and has the ability to create a vision and then inspire an organization to implement that vision. Rich is a leader, motivator, teacher, but most importantly, an invested friend.
Again, the same kind of challenges existed with being Eli Lilly Federal Credit Union. Everybody assumed you had to work for Eli Lilly to become a member. So we went through the process of rebranding, changing the culture, and changing the name to Elements. What's interesting about that is Eli Lilly is a pharmaceutical company. And so the the periodic table of elements is really important to them. So they grasped onto that name almost immediately.
Once in a while, a leader comes along and leaves an imprint for life. Rich was that kind of leader, boss, and mentor. I'm one of many people at Elements who is deeply grateful for his positive influence, honesty, and passion for inspiring others.
As my job was kind of wrapping up at Elements Financial, we had just acquired a home in Tucson, and so consulting seemed to be the next logical step. The key about starting a consultancy is to have developed networks of people that trust you, believe in you, and respect you. Make these relationships a bonding relationships with the people you meet at these conferences, because that's going to be important to your long-term future and your continued career progression as you mature in your career life.